Thank you, and you're welcome to Simple English class. We are going to continue with our lesson on nouns, irregular plural nouns. In our previous lesson, I mentioned that you have some nouns that don't have plural or singular form. They're not changing their form to indicate whether they are plural or singular. And you will notice too that most of these nouns are the abstract nouns. The abstract nouns, we describe them in one of our classes as the nouns that you cannot see or touch. They are abstract, you can't see them. But there are also some nouns that are concrete. The concrete nouns are the ones we can see and touch. But some of them, even though they are concrete, we can see them and we can even count them, they don't have plural form. They are always written as singular. For example, you have furniture. You can have pieces of furniture in your house, maybe chairs and tables and all of these shelves and all of that. They are furniture. You can say I have a lot of furnitures. Well, that is part of the rule of English language. Some of those words or nouns, the way they are written, don't have any logical description or explanation. Even though you can see deer, deer is an animal. You can see a deer, you can see a herd of deer or a harem of deer, but you can't say deers. You also have sheep. Sheep is an animal. You can see a flock of sheep, but you don't say a flock of sheep. You see 1, 2, 3 sheep. If there are 10, still sheep. 1 sheep. 4 still sheep. No plural form. They don't change their form to indicate whether they are plural or singular. So the nouns that don't change their form, maybe we call them static. They're not changing their form to indicate whether they are plural or singular. And on the board here, I have a couple of them. Remember, some are abstract nouns. For example, advice. Advice and abstract noun, you don't say advice. But someone can give you a piece of advice or pieces of advice. So it's always advice. You can see rice. Maybe if you have grains, you can count maybe 1 or 2, 3 grains of rice. But you cannot have rices. Happiness is abstract. It's an abstract noun. We cannot see happiness. We can maybe experience happiness or feel happy. So we can have happinesses. Cutlery, you can see cutlery, but you don't have a plural form of cutlery. Scenery. Scenery is the view. The view or the physical view of a particular place, especially the natural world. You have a view of the countryside or the view of the city, but you don't have sceneries. So the view of a particular place is a scenery. You don't have sceneries. You don't have piece. You can say pieces. There's no pieces. It's always peace, and it's a noun, abstract noun. The absence of crisis or violence or war or fighting is peace. So if there is peace, you can say there's 1 piece here, 2 pieces there, 3 pieces there. We can't count peace actually. So you don't have the plural form of peace. Courage, wisdom, fuse, poetry. Yes, we can see a poem. We can have 1, 2, 3 poems, but we don't have poetries. Traffic, you don't have traffics. It's always traffic. Garbage. Garbage, that's your waste. You don't have garbages. You don't have baggages. You don't say baggages, it's always baggage. Luggage, you always have luggage. Software, you always have software, not softwares. And then cattle is always cattle. Damage, this one is a bit special, unique. Damage, if there is a destruction to a particular thing, maybe you have something that has been deformed, or uh, a harm has been caused to a particular thing, such that it is not in its original form again, you can say it has been damaged. That is an adjective to qualify the state of that thing that has been affected. But damage itself cannot have plural. It is a noun. When you use it in this case or in this sense, it is a noun. Damage. Damage. The state of destroying something, or the act of destroying something. Yeah, the act of destroying something is damage. If you use damage as a noun, it is always singular. Damage. Damage. But if you have damages, if you have damages, it is no longer referring to the destruction or the harm or injury that you caused to something. If you have damages, it means the money or something, the price or money you pay for causing harm, or especially in legal terms, if you cause someone, if you offend someone and they take you to court, the court might judge the case and then award damages. So you'll be paying damages to whoever you offended. They will claim damages. So the money you pay to someone that you've offended is damages, especially if that is ordered by the court. So the money you pay to someone that you've offended to as kind of a restitution is called damages. But causing harm or physical harm or destruction to a particular object or any structure or even the body is damage. So there's always damage. You can have a lot of damage has been done. A lot of damage, not a lot of damages. Maybe there is war and destruction, so you can say there's been a lot of damage in the city, or the house has been damaged. That is an adjective though. But if it is referring to destruction, it can only be damaged. You don't add s. If you add s, you make it damages, then it's no longer referring to destruction. It is the money you pay or the fine you pay to someone that you've offended. And that is usually ordered by a court of law. So you can pay damages, or someone can claim damages in court. So if you have damages, it is completely different from damage. Okay, let's take this out. You don't have damages. Damages is a different noun altogether. Furniture, equipment, information, damage, cattle, software, there, cutlery, happiness, rice, advice, traffic, baggage, love, knowledge, peace, scenery, garbage, poetry, sheep, fuse, wisdom, courage, and so many other nouns that don't have plural form. They are always used in a singular sense. But there are also other nouns that only occur in plural form, more like a reverse. These ones only occur in singular form. Then there are others that occur only in plural form. Even if they are singular, they appear in plural form. Let's look at those ones as well. So I'm going to take this out. You have news, for example. News is always news, whether it's 1, 2, 3, whether you can count. So you can have item. items of news. It's always news. Barracks, barracks. You have headquarters or arms. Yeah, you have arms. You have thanks. Yeah, you have thanks. Thanks. You have savings. Savings. You also have measle. Yeah, measle. Measles. You have quarters. You have quarters. Quarters. Damages. Yeah, damages. Remember, these damages is different from damage. Damages. You have goods. Goods. And you have what else? News, barracks, arms, thanks, savings, measles, quarters or headquarters, especially when you use as the central administrative area of an organization or institution. So you have headquarters of a company. Quarters, it could also be a residential place. Quarters, damages, goods, measle, and so on and so forth. So if you have other nouns that end in S, that means they're always in S. It's always goods, maybe products that you buy to sell, or things that have been manufactured in companies or factories, for example. We call it goods. It's always with the S. Good is an adjective. So if you have good alone, it's an adjective. But when you add S, it becomes a noun. And it refers to maybe produce or things that have been manufactured in factories. But it always in plural form. Even if it's singular, it doesn't change to show you whether it's plural or singular. It's always written with the S. Quarters, damages, barracks, arms, thanks, savings, news, and so on and so forth. So, these are some of the irregular nouns we have and how you can identify them. Some will change to show their plural form by taking suffixes. That is, you can have es, s, or ies to the original form to show the plural. Some will change internally. There will be an internal change. They're not going to take a suffix. There might be just a change within, and that will reflect the plural of that noun. Some only occur in singular form. They're not going to take any inflection. There's not going to be any s or es or any change. For example, knowledge, love, baggage, traffic, poetry is always like this. And then there are some nouns that will always have the plural form, even if they are singular. So, these are some interesting way that nouns can take their plurals. The more you know about the uniqueness of each noun, the better you will be, especially in your writing and even in your speech. So you know when to use goods and good. You also know when to use news. You know when to use traffic. And if you're writing as well, you're not going to say the plural of sheep is sheeps. If you have 2, 3, 4, 5, it is always sheep. And of course, that will make your writing way, way better. Don't forget, if you find other nouns that are not included here, you can always put them in the comment. I don't write everything on the board. There are a lot of examples that I'm not mentioning here. So if you find some, you can add them in the comment, or as you look them up, you will learn more and more. So keep following and keep watching. Don't forget, do well to share and subscribe as well. Thank you so much.